Welcome to the Sound Underground at Heid Music, and we are very excited this bright and early Tuesday morning to have Wisconsin's own, the Traveling Suitcase, in-house with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Thank you for letting us be here.
Thanks for getting up bright and early.
I'm almost awake.
All right, by the time we're done,
Yeah.
we'll be hyped.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's the right sequence, definitely, for do the talking and the ice breaking, then the tunes, because then everybody's fired up.
Wake ourselves up to play. Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
Brandon, you got the Heid swag on too, so
right there.
Heid Zone.
Yeah.
For people who don't already know, Brandon works at our Oshkosh location, and you can see him for all sorts of wonderful guitar and recording advice.
I'm here for you folks. Come see me.
That's my segue into the Basement Tapes EP. Talk me through the process of songwriting, tracking, production, because it's incredible.
The Basement Tapes started with a completely different drummer, first and foremost. And when we started tracking that, we got a little bit started, and then we decided to shift things up once again and put me back on the skins, because that's just the fate of what happens, which we'll get into later. I'm assuming there's questions and things we can talk about. That drumming and singing always comes up for me. Yeah. But so then it started as I'm going to re-record drums over drums.
Yeah, so we have the job of re-recording drums on top of existing takes and deciding which takes we need to completely redo, which is only a couple, really.
Yep. Yeah. So that was kind of like ground one for when the initial idea had happened. But Basement Tapes itself was kind of like we took the conglomerate of All My Friends, which was almost 14 years ago. First released in 2010. Which we recorded that ourselves as well.
Yes.
In Minocqua.
Also, home recorded that on a Tascam. It was a Korg.
Yep. But yeah, so it was like, how do we recreate some of the best songs from that and do that? So that began that process, and it was more or less just how do we now make this completely organized and fly from the seam of our pants again?
Exactly. We wanted it to seem like we want it to be not just some stiff recreation. So we worked hard to overdub, make sure that the takes were as good as possible, and took our time. And we were a little late in the process to release those, so I was mixing away like insanely, like figuring out things.
It was definitely like a monkey wrench in the system, having to kind of re-record. But it also was an opportunity. Rob Murphy. Rob Murphy was our original Suitcase drummer. So it was neat to kind of, I then kind of hit him up and I was like, hey man, I'm going to kind of understudy some stuff that you did in the past and put a tweak on it. So then we ended up giving him a bunch of writing credits still within that, because he made most of the structure for songs like Casanova and some really cool parts on Voodoo Chicken and some things that I was like, no, I want to keep that spirit alive. And so there's specific drum parts and things that I tried to, really pay homage to what he did in the past, and then kind of put a new twist on it because of drumming and singing and making it a little bit, easier and formidable. So it was kind of neat.
Yeah, and like that, and some special effects, have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a lot more fun. We're a lot more open-minded than we were when we were in our 20s.
And when you mix it yourself, you can just poop around and just take all the time to put the right phaser going on one part.
We've had a lot of fun with the kind of like putting weird effects on the entire mix itself once we get to a certain point.
Running those real hot now.
Absolutely.
This is our era of weird.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was definitely I found that to be a treat.
Yeah.
Listening to that was some of the like master bus effects where it was like, oh,
yeah,
we're going like early Incubus, like
100%. Yeah, definitely a lot of that. And that would be a tribute to also adding, Nate Mcdowell and then Todd Balke as well. I mean, these are two players that are newish. I mean, Nate was on our last call record that we had made as well. And then, Todd's always been one of our biggest fans. He was also in a couple of my solo Nicholas Raymond music videos, and just kind of like always kind of intertwined with it. So it's still really nostalgic, but adding two completely different guitar players to the entire mix has been an evolution, I think, for us. And these guys don't really step on each other. You've got an incredible blues guitar player and an alternative grunge player, and it's like the Samish, a good Samish.
It's right.
It really is, and it does come through, like and on the two newest singles you guys put out too. Like, it's for as much racket is happening, there's space. And Brandon, I'm kissing your butt too with this, that like the mix is wide open.
Hey, right on, yeah.
And at the same time, with all the complementary, like carving out this puzzle space for the guitars and the bass, it is still super, super evident that this is a drum-focused band. Because the kick drum on every track of Basement Tapes is just like...
It's like Van Halen 3.
Car shaking.
Yeah.
Where it's like people at the stoplight are wondering what I'm listening to right now.
I've got a
and I love
heavy
it.
foot too.
I mean, part of it's definitely Nicholas here. It's
I got
not
a
just the
foot.
sound.
Our late guitar player Carol Smith made the mistake of showing me John Bonham on a VHS tape in 1999. So you're like, okay, ever since then my foot's just been like
VHS Bonham.
Heavy.
VHS Bonham.
Yeah, but no, I just cranked this thing, and like the drums would just get really loud. My final step in the mixing, and then it
just crank this
thing.
Well,
This
it always turn on this effect.
It's the thing
right?
knob, man.
Yeah, I turned the
You guys
thing
don't
knob
have
on.
that?
I mean,
And then I would just leave it, right? I'll just turn it down. Wait, or should I? I won't. And
Okay.
I'll just leave it. There you go.
Brandon, I'm sorry I'm going to do this to you, but like I've resisted this urge with other guests we've had in to like get too granular about like plugins and things like that.
Yeah.
What are you compressing the drums with?
The real thing to me is on the master bus, a CLA 3A, which is an LA 3A, right? Which I've been using the 2A a little bit, but the 3A just has a certain transient designer, and it just makes, and Nick's already sleeping, but it just slams those drums. Now he's waking up. That sounds good.
Yeah,
and it's amazing. No, it made them super loud too, so I'm like, well, I don't want to turn them down as much as they were now, you know.
There's a lot of processing with the producing that Brandon and I do, especially because we've been really doing this together, mixing and recording music. It was the first thing from the beginning. Like when I made friends with Brandon in band class in 2000, you know, it was like, were you going to come over to my house and we're going to record music, right? So we just recorded what most 14-year-old kids would ask the senior kids to record was All Around the World by the Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
That was the first thing we did.
And no one wanted to sing. We're like, well, no, you just
And
sing.
I did it. It was the first thing I ever sang. I wouldn't let anybody look at me.
We did record and ran up the stairs.
I wouldn't let anybody. It was like pure darkness in the basement. No one could surround me. I had to be alone. But it was and that's it. We came out the gate swinging with stuff like
It
that.
felt fun to have a tape, you know, so we just kept something never not did now,
and then
so.
you guys just kept going with it, and I got in a band in high school, and that's how I met Mark Goldie. But just a lot of different, you know, all of the pathways have kind of just been it. But Brandon and I have this process where he mixes. I sit there and I just zero in, man. I just stim with it. You know, in the Matrix world, stimming with it, and I send him an email that's like 500 paragraphs long and talk about weird frequencies in certain parts and tell him he's got to chase them. And then these guys come and watch me and him have like marital arguments and like passive aggressive. It's not like passive aggressive. It's fun, like, but it's like definitely like me and Brandon have definitely been locked in doing this for 20
turns
years.
into the thing. What? That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like. I'm like,
what's
well,
wrong
it could be like, what if you just took this out of that part? And you're like, oh, I think I remember specifically.
Well, that affects everything else.
We were almost done with I Want a Lover. Yeah. And there was just that one note on the bass, right? That was just like, I'm Brandon, I'm so sorry. We're almost done.
You were overplayed. I'm like, that's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, it's just right there. But then we found when we just took the bass out for just 1 second, it was just completely.
Carving away.
Yep. It was just completely different. But yeah, it was just one of those things where you're like almost done with the mix, and then you're like, excuse me, I think there's one more thing. You know?
At the end of Open Your Mind Up mixing process, I was like, how about I remove my bass for this bit?
And everyone was like, wait, what are you doing? But it does sound really good.
It sounds really good. I was like, don't do that.
The bass was there, and I was like,
yeah. And it sounds really cool live when you let it drop out like that. It just gives like some really cool breakdown stuff and keeps us from doing kind of the same thing over and over again.
Well, yeah, and it's an attention getting like songwriting device too. It's that and that's that speaks to like, in all seriousness, like you joked about, like, oh, we have like the marital arguments. It speaks to like a healthy collaborative relationship too, from songwriting too. Is being able to have everybody in this unified mission of song.
A healthy band environment, because we all have our voices.
Yeah, this has been a revolving door since the get-go, like Traveling Suitcase has, but I don't really want it any longer to be. Like I'm like band monogamous, you know, right now where I'm like, this is the way I want this band to be. I don't, you know, I'm fine with collaborating. We do a lot of collaborating with like the shows that we play. We invite bands on stage with us. We have, you know, we've got a couple of videos out there. And even this year, I want to get more involved with doing stuff. You should come drum on some stuff. You should, you know, come play make some videos and stuff with us. But as far as like the band goes, like this is the Ninjas. I don't want this shift to change because it's been the best year I think that the band has ever had, but it's because we spent time really getting to know each other and really becoming friends first, you know? It's this weird, and that's a healthy marital dynamic, is being friends with your spouse. That's, yes, like that's just, you know, but it's cool. This is my favorite Suitcase. I think that transcends in the writing, and that's where I'm really excited with, like, yeah, we're going to research some of the really great content that's already there because there's an arsenal of beautiful songs, and we attribute so much to Bill Graisley and, you know, Rob Murphy and all of the people that have like really had a huge foot in what we're doing. But at the same time, we're also really stoked to kind of just write with what we've got right now. And there's a good footing in that. We've got a lot of demoing right now.
Like Dunkin' Coffee next door to Oshkosh Heid Music. There's a lot brewing in the works right now.
Yes, there is.
I actually promised myself I would avoid drumming and singing questions.
Oh, but that's okay. We can talk about it.
Well, I have a nerdier drumming question.
Okay.
The Suitcase.
So the Suitcase is constructed by a drummer and fellow friend of ours, but most of all, Todd has a band called North Wind and the Sun, and Brooke in that band, he makes these suitcases. And you should talk about Brooks. I mean, you know a little bit more about
I know about Brooke a little bit.
More than I do.
Well, he just I don't know. He started making these, you know, some people do that, but he just finds an old suitcase and constructs a drum out of it, and he gave me one, and then he custom built one for Nicholas.
Super nice.
I spent a little more time on it. He was actually embarrassed that you were playing the prototype that he gave me. He's like, that's more, oh no, you shouldn't, oh gosh.
It was really good. The prototype is amazing.
It's really good.
And then after some touring, that little suitcase that he made me needed some gusto, and he like took it back to his shop and then put even more like rivets and stuff in it and like some like crazy like hardware, so it's even more ready. It's pretty cool. You can take a look at it. We can take it apart and geek out over it because it's definitely really cool. And then it's so personalized that there's even like a little like painting on the bottom that like says like to Nick from Brooke, and like all of this like really personal stuff about Suitcase, and then like my name on top of it, and just a lot of thought. Brooke is an incredibly thoughtful human being.
He's
super
one of
good.
the best people.
Yeah, honestly,
great
like super.
Period.
Yeah,
like one of the best people.
Good dad, good human. Just always really stoked about life. So it's an honor to receive that kind of gift from him. And I play it all the time, and I think it's just a really cool. It's cool. We mic it usually from behind, and sound guys are like, "What do I do with that?" You know, and I'm like, "We'll work it out. It's gonna be okay."
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, stuff like that is so exciting too, because that again, kind of like you were talking about how like the past years of revolving door and everybody sort of being sort of these pardon the expression, like these Avengers who all are part of the history of Traveling Suitcase and its legacy. And you've also got, from a gear standpoint, just like the scene in the community being such a cool part of that too.
Yeah, there's just a lot of history, I think, in a lot of different bands here. But we played a show at Fletcher's in Oshkosh this last Friday, so it would have been May 3rd with Horace Green, which is another incredible Oshkosh local band. It was just kind of this like wild thing to be like, this is like 14 years of people, and there was every single kind of person that you could imagine there. There's no right or wrong way to be a suitcaser. And I just realized the impact of like how many different generations of people that we're affecting. And yet again, like now that we're back and doing this resurgence, we're like popular at UWO and on the campuses again. And this is like this really weird, trippy thing to kind of be like, oh, we're cycling this again. Interesting. It's a second revival, and it truly is. I'm really grateful for it. It's cheesy and it's awesome, and it is. It's like a total second chance at doing this, and it's trippy.
Yeah, it is, because I, off of that, I get to say that my 13-year-old digs, and Wings is his favorite tune.
Yeah. I mean, Wings is finally like right where it needs to be. I feel like the songs are finally like matured, and that we've finally found this inclination of people and what we're doing. Like, it's just cool. So now we can kind of just not think about who's going to be in the band and stress about that kind of stuff. It's just more or less just like, how many shows do you guys want to play this year? And what do you want to see what happens? And what states do you want to go to? And how do we get there? And how do we do it ourselves?
When you tour, speaking of that, there's obviously the logistical discussions and, like, you know, putting together dates and stuff like that. We don't need to get into that. So when you travel and book a bunch of shows, do you kind of rehearse a set amount of things and have like a pretty much, this is our set list for all these dates and we're going to kind of stick to it, feel out the room a little bit? How much of that is like, well, we've played this venue before, we know what they're going to like, they get this set list? You know, like how unique is the show each night? How much of it is off the cuff? How much of it is, no, we've got transitions down, we're going to lock this in so that every night is perfect? How do you guys approch that?
I can't say much other than Nicholas does a lot of great work.
Yeah.
Take it away, Nicholas.
He puts a lot of work into it. And then there's some improvisation.
Yeah, it's everything that you just listed. There is a little bit of takeaway from. Many years ago, I read a book that's incredible. It's called How Music Works by David Byrne. And you would think that it would be zany, just like he is. He's the lead singer of Talking Heads. And it's not. It's literally just how to play music and debating on what room you're in, and that just it is. It's all about creating the environment. I can have a set list pretty much mapped out, but then once we're in a situation, I can go, okay, well, you know, maybe some band played over the time, and, you know, now the show's running a little bit different, and then the crowd just seems a little bit more, you know what I mean? Like, if you've got anticipation, let's cut out slow songs, because then we're gonna, you know what I mean? Here's my biggest thing too. Time is everything when you're trying to run an event, right? So if like an event's already running really late, I'll look at these guys and be like, we're gonna go 20 minutes now instead of filling out that 45, because I want to be really conscious of what's going on. And also I've been in the service industry. I've been on the other side of the bar with a whole busy night, you know. Everybody wants to go home. Everyone wants to be safe. So there's a lot of things where all of a sudden I'll look at these guys and I'll be like, we're going to cut this out, we're going to cut this out, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. But everything still has a flow to it. We practice transitions quite a bit, but we also practice those things to be like able to be on our toes and improvise in that moment. I'd say within the last month, and especially this last weekend, we really spent a lot of time jamming and being in the ether of those unknown moments, but coming back to the things that we often rehearse. But I will say, and I hope that, you know, even this weekend, some of our friends and fans came out to both of those shows, and both times every single person was like, I really like that you're never the same, because we don't play the same set every single time. But that would be like me trying to give someone the same experience all the time. It just doesn't seem genuine. And the one thing that, if anyone knows me, I am no BS, and I'm very authentic, and I'm not going to play anything other than that, right? So I just think there's a lot of different moments that we can capture within ourselves too, if we're prepared for the plays, but we can really improvise the game.
Case by case, place by place.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. And it's fun though, but we trust each other, and we practice music to trust each other. And my biggest thing is trying to build these guys having like complete confidence. My biggest thing I want to see the next year is just everybody singing way more, because everybody has an incredible voice in this band, and I think that'll give you guys a lot of confidence. And, you know, we did this really fun thing at there's a thing happening at Appleton Beer Factory that's called Sips and Strums, and it's on Sundays, and we did that, and it was super fun. We had Todd bring a banjo, and they did this like dueling banjo little thing that was
didn't happen Friday night. We did that just for Sunday,
and it was just one of those things where, but it's one of those things where we thought about how fun would this moment be, and And I thought you guys had an even cooler bonding moment because we came back after that moment and you guys just had this like, it's like when you got like a cool, cute little band concert, and like some of the members of the band get to do their solo sections or, stuff like that. Like it's important because it's a huge bonding moment for everybody. So I like it when these guys, I'm like the voyeur at this point, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to put some things together and then I'm going to watch y'all get together, because it's just fun. I like watching them interact. It's a proud parent moment, right?
We were just watching them. I shot a video of us. We're just like,
yeah. We were watching them bond, and that's kind of, it's what we've built. But that's kind of how the sets are built. How do we feel confident and how do we still have fun?
Yeah.
So.
That's so cool. I'm just basking in like the musical joy of this conversation right now too.
Yeah,
like you just said, like the voyeur thing, like I feel like that right now where it's like, oh man, I just want you to just keep
talking about music. Well, music is fun, man, and that's what all connects us. We've all been connected in this room for a long time, so it's neat. Appreciate you having us.
Speaking of authentic, I'm trying to skip over notes that I had to myself that sound corny.
Can you give those? Let's do the corny ones.
Well, all right.
Let's have a corny round.
We'll break up a corny round in here.
Yeah. Corny round. It is.
There was a drop there.
Cheese and corn.
I dropped the ball there, so let's.
Cheese and corn.
So here's a corny question.
Corn.
Yeah. No matter what the question is.
That was like the highlight. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
A year ago?
Yeah.
That was like my summer theme.
About it.
Oh,
it's got the juice.
It got me through a lot of hard times.
Could you imagine a more beautiful thing?
That was like one of the first silly social media trend videos that
Send me the link.
jumped on it.
Send me the link.
I had like
I did one.
Holding up
Everyone
band
did
instruments
one.
and being like, holding up a saxophone. Big hunk of knobs.
Yeah, big humping.
Was this that corn kid?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it was like a kid that had talked about it, but then some musician.
Somebody melodined it.
And once that was it, that
one
was
of the most
done.
beautiful things I've ever heard.
On the outskirts of that. I'm like,
I love that stuff.
Corn kid, yeah, right.
Speaking of impromptu banjo jams and things, if you could all learn another instrument that you don't currently play, what would it be?
What do you choose?
Oh my gosh. Come back to me.
Okay.
No. I can answer it, right? Maybe just keys, because like I feel like that's like maybe one of the more useful things to know. But guitar, I'd like to just learn guitar more actually. Like, if I can learn guitar, can I use it? Can I double up on?
Good answer.
That's a good answer.
I'd like to learn guitar more better even.
I don't. I'm resting on all laurels.
That's not true.
Oh, what do you choose?
Piano. I mean, I know a little bit, right? Like enough to, but like I want to be like. You want
to get some extra tinkles?
Yeah, man. I wish I could like virtue. Like I play The Sims a lot. That's how nerdy I am. All right, so The Sims is if you don't know Sims, then you don't know Sims. But like I'm always like cheating the like musician things, but I'm always like a piano and painter virtuoso. So that's like in my alternate universe, I am just so good at painting and playing piano and math.
Whoa, that's like, I
am like, dude, I can do mental subtraction and play piano.
It would be cool.
That's it.
In my wildest dreams, I play piano and do my own taxes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, everyone has to do our own taxes. We just all right.
I choose saxophone.
Yes.
Because I don't want to put the work into it. Nathan.
At this moment, I feel like a pedal steel guitar.
Wow.
Oh yeah, good answer.
Because it's just you can play it with anything, and it just sounds amazing.
It does. It is wild.
Of the instruments you all currently play,
what about you?
Yeah,
cello.
Okay.
I was gonna say cello.
Cello. I tried taking cello at Oshkosh, and just like in the hopes that like. From a songwriting, self-producing standpoint, I was like, I just want to learn how to play like decent whole notes so that I can lay my own like lame 90s emo backing tracks and couldn't even do that because it's so hard to intonate properly. And I remember calling up a cello performance major friend because I was like sitting at the studio at the Oshkosh building like, for like 3 hours trying to just do these 4 notes that I just could not play in tune. And I call up my friend. I'm like, hey, you got a little time? Comes over. 1 take. Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep.
I know.
Everything that you had been trying to do for like months, just like in like 10 minutes.
It's like, oh yeah, that's you do this. And I was like, okay.
Good answer.
Call me when you need drums. But of the instruments you all play, what is your like desert island post-apocalyptic? You can only take 1 piece of gear with you.
Acoustic guitar, but then I would form my own drums out of the island's sources.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That way you don't have to choose one thing.
No, I don't.
I was like, I'm
an optimist and an opportunist.
And
I love
Swiss
it.
Family Robinson.
Absolutely.
Yes.
There you go.
And I can finally homestead.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah, right. It's the only way now is the Swiss Family way. But I'm talking about acoustic guitar too, because it's so universal.
I guess it would have to be acoustic guitar. I'd like to come up with something more creative, but I got nothing right now.
Good instrument.
Does this island have electricity?
Right. You say 1
Dude,
piece of
in
gear.
that case-
How you gonna get it?
Well,
You make the electricity, Todd.
And I
get the guitar.
I guess that's where I sort of sneak in, like, desert island or just post-apocalyptic. This could be like a Last of Us kind of world where like you got your generator going, and so maybe it's your Korg Triton. I don't know. Like,
You can always make an electric guitar.
You're in the mall.
But it's harder to make an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd have to look into that, but I think, I could. If I'm on a desert island, I can make a Telecaster, probably, given enough time.
Enough time is true.
Enough time, enough coconut trees.
Yeah. Tom Hanks made Wilson, and you're gonna make a Telecaster.
Yeah. So I'll bring an acoustic guitar so I can entertain myself while eventually I'll build a Telecaster.
Telecastaway.
oh, that's a song.
I'll just
That's
leave
it.
that. Right?
Yeah, that's it, man.
That's another EP title.
What a shame. Telecastaway. Brandon, that's
It's
wild,
just
dude.
Bruce Springsteen singing sea shanties.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to Bruce. He's the boss after all.
Even alone on a desert island.
That's right. Yeah, for of himself.
Especially, yeah.
If you're not a boss.
EPs, albums, vinyl, Spotify, distribution. What are the big obstacles? What are the challenges of getting things out, getting heard? How do you overcome them? What are your takeaways on the DIY distribution scene, and how do you maximize it and get what you want out of it?
Everyone looks at me. All right. So I love using Bandcamp. We've made thousands on Bandcamp over the last decade. And Bandcamp only takes 10%. And since the pandemic, they just celebrated 40 Bandcamp Fridays, where they will waive their fees to independent artists on Fridays and not take any money from the artist. So you get 100% of your own money from your singles, in which anyone can buy for $1 or any sort of monetary amount that they so wish. And we have been blessed with people that sometimes buy a track for up to $500. So we have people that have believed in what we're doing for the last 14 years, especially, and that do monetary donations like that. Hundreds of people even just buying it for $1 is still a decent amount of money. It's more money you're going to make off of Spotify or iTunes, at least for us at this point. I would love to have millions and millions of streams at this point. We're just not right there. And you can still dream, because winning the lottery is something that everybody wants, right? But to be fathomable and to not put pressure on ourselves and to be like, no, we're not going to the moon. We're gonna go to Colorado instead, right? That seems more fathomable, and it's just as beautiful. We'll let Bandcamp have it for a month, and then I'll push it out. So under the radar, simultaneously, while we released Black Cadillac Hearse on Bandcamp this last weekend, Open Your Mind Up came out on iTunes and Spotify secretly. So those of us who do follow us on iTunes and Spotify got a treat. And then also anybody else in our DIY world got Black Cadillac Hearse. So I'm kind of pulling the strings in a few different ways just to have fun. And there's really only the way I want to do things at this point in time, because I'm the only person that's going to get upset about what's happening with our streams or with that, because right now we're doing incredibly well with booking. We've got a booking agent, and then we do stuff ourselves as well.
We're constantly shooting promo things.
Yes, and shooting promo, and we're booked out right now till almost January. We've got a lot of residencies and a lot of we're really grateful, and we just keep forging forward. So within keeping a consistent show schedule, that keeps us within our local outreach and continuing to meet new fans organically. So if you mix that organic with kind of how the way the world works, we've got a TikTok, we do goofy stuff like that, but that's not like, we are not so focused on, the social media game in a way that's just toxic, right? We want to keep it fluid and where it's just easy. We shoot a lot of little things. We've been doing these things called for real reels, where it's just us at practice or us doing a sound check and just kind of showing what we're doing. I mean, these aren't things that I'm like trying to get a million hits on or try to like break us through social media. It's things when people are booking us or when people are looking at our social media content, it's just, who are we? And what do our songs sound like?
We just like to
doing?
make stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the, this
getting us creating, and then, just it's a team exercise. Filming, I mean, even this, right? Getting up early together, being here together, you guys too. It's a team exercise on everyone's front to come together and make stuff happen. So, I don't know, the social stuff, there's a way to do things. There's a DIY way to do things. And once I can quote Snoop Dogg to Spotify, where's my money?
Yeah. Good question.
Definitely some of the strategies that I've seen you do as far as like the early release to Bandcamp and then trickle stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of playing with that sorry to use this word, playing with that algorithm of how many people are the true like rabid fans who are going to financially support, and how long do we sort of keep a thing a little bit hostage until the more passive listeners are the broader net.
Yep.
It's definitely a tactic that I've seen other groups start using. I've used it myself. It's a great set of tools that are out there. But I think you nailed it. Like, and you said it, Todd. The idea of like just make stuff.
Yep.
Just if you're constantly creating.
Yep.
Whatever it is, and if back to what you said about it being authentic, if you're creating authentic things, those things resonate with people, and they resonate more deeply, rather than just
targeting
kind of
everything and trying to post it at the same time and do all the same
There's
things.
a balance between like really trying to, but you do put a lot of work into like making sure it does fulfill that kind of social media stuff, but then also like we also want to make stuff we like to make. And,
it's fun too. It's about fun, literally, because otherwise, just here's the business, here's the shows, it's all business, and it's just like, here's a little bit. It's not business strictly, just for fun.
I mean, I can be tough. I can be tough sometimes, but like it's definitely out of like an incredible moral compass. And like nothing but support and love for like especially our future, where I'm like, no, I want to do this forever. So it's like, how do we be healthy? But business is still important. I want our brand to make sense. That's kind of really what it comes down to, is being consistent. And does this make sense? And does it align with us?
Oh yeah,
that makes me super grateful that you guys were down for being here, because I take that personally. I'll speak on behalf of Todd and Dee Dee and say I'll take your presence here as a glowing endorsement of we at Heid must be doing something right.
Yeah.
If you're here, that means that there must be something about the fact that we try, quite frankly, as people working here, to remember that it's like, this is fun. Yeah. That's why we're here. This is fun. Life is rough. Life is hard. Music is supposed to be the good part.
Yeah, music is unity. And unity is something that this world needs incredibly right now. So can't let music die. Or unity or anything like that. So we are grateful to
This is the thing that makes unlikely bonds, and that's got to be something we work for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
worthiest cause.
Or the way I know Zach gets a kick out of it when I say this sometimes up in our office. I'm like, somebody should be happy. Like, we might as well help somebody be happy. Like, on that note, I'll make sure to put all the links in the description for this video to find you guys on Bandcamp and all the other social platforms. Any physical media for CDs, vinyl coming out with the...
So we've got, we'll be repressing CDs because we sold out of those. And then, so we'll repress them. And then we are going to be pressing vinyl that will be coming out festival season time. And so we'll have the singles that are out right now will be available on vinyl. But then there's going to be some extra stuff on there that is like an Easter egg. The vinyls will come with handwritten lyrics. It's recycled cardboard, and we are going to be pressing out of Toledo, Ohio, with these really cool guys that we did a video, two videos with them, right?
Yeah,
we're on
in their basement of this house.
Yeah, they had like a video thing that they did, a vlog back in the day. And we did some stuff on tour, but now they just have like a vinyl pressing company. So we're just going to go use them because they're local. And that's something that, it's kind of cool to full circle that. So Little Elephant is where we're pressing with out of Toledo, Ohio. And we're going to do some clear vinyl. And so each vinyl will come with some stickers, come with some handwritten lyrics and like a little note from us. And like it's all going to be really personal. And it's not going to be like me writing lyrics and then just like photocopying that and putting them in there. Like I'm going to handwrite every single one of them. I already have started. So
carpal tunnel will come.
Oh, I already got carpal tunnel, but that's why they make CBD lotions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good things.
Yeah.
And so that stuff will be available around festival season, and that can be found on the website too.
We don't have any physical stuff on a website yet. The website stuff is definitely something that we want to get into this next year. So far, we've just had a lot of luck, honestly, selling out most of our merch. When we're at shows, we do short run t-shirts. Every single show, we kind of have like merch targeted towards. So we do a lot of different like tie-dyes. Me and my wife tie-dye everything, and then short run press shirts. I work at... we got some stuff for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we've got
out to a show. That's where you get these bad boys.
Every single time we play a show, we do custom run pins. So the pins are never the same, depending on the show. So that's everything just kind of changes, right? And it's something that you kind of organically get. But that doesn't mean I don't want to have a website or a merchandise thing. Yeah. At this point, we just don't know what we're gonna do as far as a website goes. I know Bandcamp actually does
they have a platform built in there for.
And I was thinking about using that just because they've been so steady. But that 2.0.
Yeah.
2.0. Well, the under construction guys.
Yeah, under construction currently.
Well, Todd, Nicholas, Brandon, Nate, thank you all so much for coming to the Sound Underground. Yeah. Make sure you check out the Traveling Suitcase at a show near you. Get those limited edition pieces of merch and watch for the vinyls coming out and more music to come, especially on Bandcamp and all the ways that you can support music and local musicians so that they keep making you music. This has been Sound Underground at Heid Music. Make sure you like and subscribe to learn more about music in your area.